Audi used to be a mark associated with quality, things being done properly. These days it's something completely different. It's all about being flash, showing off, driving erratically, relying on good drivers to make sure you don't have a crash. And that's why an Audi has so little appeal to so many people, because of its reputation. But why? Is it their own fault? And is that relevant? No. Instead, I'm going to talk about how you could drive an Audi and how you should drive one. In Germany, Audi tend to be sold with softer suspension, with tall wall tyres. Yet, their roads are smooth because they look after them. In Britain, Audi tend to be sold with big wheels, massively stiff suspension, and yet our road surfaces are horrendous, with potholes everywhere and bits of dug up road and things just not put back together properly. And everywhere you go, you have to contend with Audi drivers. In Germany, they probably don't have Audi drivers. They have people who drive Audis, but not Audi drivers. You get what I'm saying? So, who is impressed by erratic driving? Well, I can tell you that all of the other drivers around you are not. All of the pedestrians are not. Animals that are frightened by the stupid pops and bangs and all that nonsense are not. Even lower level sentient beings aren't impressed. The only people that are impressed by it are the people who drive like that. And that says an awful lot about what they've got going on upstairs. Big Audi like this, actually, very nice to drive, very smooth, very comfortable, it's cosseting, you feel reasonably safe, soaks up the bumps, goes along nicely enough, and it's just quite relaxing to drive. One of the benefits of driving nicely as well is you will get better fuel economy. It's annoying, isn't it, when you're having to drive really slowly because you're stuck in traffic or driving down really knackered, rutted roads at 10 miles per hour. In your own car, so you do it carefully. You don't want to just crash through the potholes, do you? Because you know it's going to cause you damage. And it's annoying because it gives you awful fuel economy. But you can have that same awful fuel economy just by driving like a knob. Obviously the diesels are going to be quite quick and economical at the same time, but petrol, no. Something like a 6-cylinder like this or something with a turbo, the moment you start driving erratically, your fuel economy is going to plummet. If you get into the habit of trying to get as many miles per gallon as possible, it makes you a much better driver. Contest if you will, but it's pointless because it's a fact. Driving erratically doesn't take skill. It takes being stupid. That's really all there is to it. Driving carefully takes patience, takes thought, and requires empathy for other road users. Empathy being a very, very imaginative and smart kind of intelligence that many people don't really have. A car that delivers generally bad fuel economy gives you the opportunity to learn to drive better, thinking further ahead, requiring more cognitive stuff in order to make those numbers go up as much as possible. This Audi, like many cars, or modern cars especially, have a trip computer which will give you an idea of how many miles per gallon you're getting. They're usually just a little tiny bit on the optimistic side, but even so, if the trip computer is saying 30 miles per gallon, but in actual fact it's 27, if you're going to ignore it and just go for the 27, then you're only going to get about 24. Oh, what a sado! You have to be really dull to care about how much fuel you're using up. If you think so, but I like it. And for you, it might not be any kind of issue whatsoever. Maybe you could get 5 miles per gallon and be perfectly happy pocketing the bill. But it still doesn't mean that you're a good driver, does it? It just means you've got more money than sense. And many people do have more money than sense. Unless you're incredibly rich, that's quite an insult. Do you want to feel insulted? Do you want to feel, because I mean you're admitting it. If you are saying to me or anybody else that you really don't care about that, then you are, by your own admission, telling me and everybody else that you don't deserve the amount of money that you have. And it should go to someone with a bit more brains. Are there any other benefits of driving in this calm fashion? Yes, lots. When you drive, reading the road ahead properly, you spot all of the potential hazards, not just some of them. If you're fixated on a tiny gap to get through, then anything could be going on around that gap that would cause an accident, and that would be your fault. Why? Because you weren't looking properly. It's no good saying, oh well, somebody pulled out in front of me. Well, no, yeah, they're at fault, but also you are for not noticing. We need a bit more emphasis on this. The amount of times I've had to take evasive action because of some stupid tool in an Audi A3 normally overtaking whilst there's traffic coming the other way. Well, it's quite a lot basically. It's happened an awful lot. That driver is relying on somebody else getting out of their way and somebody else not wanting to have a crash. You're not going to be safe, are you? If you get crashed into by a lunatic in a German car, the chances are you're going to get hurt. And nobody really wants to get hurt. And these lunatics have become so complacent with other people getting out of their way that they probably don't even realise that it is down to the skill and observations of other drivers why they're not having a crash a bit more often. They just think, look how quick I can get around this corner. Look at the speed I've managed to go down this particular road. Look at this overtaking manoeuvre here. I really think it's so much of a generational thing. But I'm driving this Audi now at 40 and I'm doing it with plenty of space ahead, plenty of observations, and I'm calm. Really calm. And it's nice. I'm watching the fuel range go up rather than down, and I feel content. I don't feel stressed. I don't feel anything pumping away inside me. I don't feel the blood rushing around my veins as the adrenaline makes a chemical catastrophe of me. No. And I think that's nice. I think that's a nice way to go about your business. And it's not really going to take me much longer to get where I'm going to. When I get there, I can afford to go out somewhere else because I've still got some fuel. When you drive a big Audi in this manner, you discover an unexpected charm about it. And that is that it is comfortable and just feels like the right place to be. Given the choice, and this might surprise you, I would prefer to drive this than my 600, my Rover 600. It's an odd one to explain this, but see if you can follow it. The 600 is a little bit like an English country gentleman with a slightly twirly moustache, not a proper twirly moustache, no, not one of those, not one of those in a double-breasted jacket, but he's just got a tie on, he's got a moustache, and he tells a few jokes. Now the Audi doesn't tell very many jokes, but when it does tell a joke, it's a really good one. The only thing is, the Rover tells a better delivered joke, and that means that not only does it give you more jokes per mile, but it's a lot funnier as well. Audi's more down to interpretation. You have to have the ability to see the joke. Yeah, you know, it's not a comedian. It's just told a good joke, but it's done it in such a way where it wasn't even obviously a joke. You have to be smart to like this car. So again, let's come back to this image problem that we have with Audi. And of course the image is quite simply there because of the people that drive it, but why? Okay, it's this. Any car that is safer to crash is more likely to get crashed. Isn't that a rather strange conclusion? The actual crashing, if you're safe in that, you're more likely to take less care. If it's more passive, so make sure you don't crash, you're more likely to drive carelessly because somebody else is taking care of you. Audi have this image of being exclusive, that exclusive image that makes drivers think they're special. They want to give the impression that they have more money than what they do actually have. It's a portrayal. Look at my Audi. You probably think I've got plenty of money. I'll happily let you think that. I haven't really. No, but I'm not going to admit that to you. In fact, I have to pay through the nose to keep this car. I've got it on finance. That, if you're not driving your own car, you're not going to look after it quite as well as you would do. The Audi A3 just looks fantastic, spinning around on its lid with its occupants not in the slightest bit worried about getting hurt. Reel this back. Let's get back to what made Audi good, and that is a big, comfortable car with soft tyres, driven carefully and considerately and smoothly, with a view to returning decent fuel. Smooth driving, better fuel economy, less damage from bumps in the road, less stress, all round better. Audi isn't about blacked out screens that obscure anyone looking in. No, Audi drivers are not trying to hide anyone. Let's make Britain great again. That's a phrase you hear quite a lot, and we should. Also, let's make Audi respectable again. And that will go hand in hand with making Britain great again. There we go. It's up to you. Now, bye-bye.